Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Okay, you guys, you have no idea how thrilled I am. I have been looking forward to the day that I brought back this woman. She was the very first guest of the podcast ever. And you know what's funny is she's the first guest back in this return Where Are They Now series that I'm doing for October. And I'm so honored to be having her on again because this woman is so amazing to me. She's always been so supportive and inspiring. She is known for her incredible posing coaching. And even though she retired, actually, after the first episode we did, I remember her saying that to me, and she announced it, she retired, but she's still so active in supporting other competitors in achieving their goals. She's a personal trainer online, in the gym. She's one of the muscle legs. And if you follow her on Instagram, you can see that she is not afraid to be real and open with her audience on all sorts of subjects. So we're going to just touch base, hear what she's been up to. So welcome back, Tamara Haddad. How are you doing?
Hey girl, thanks for having me back.
Of course.
I'm doing great. That's so cool that I was your first on the bikini what do we call it? Bikini Diaries? I forgot.
No, Confessions of a Bikini. Come
Confessions of a
on.
Bikini.
Whenever people say that, I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm the first podcast.
You sure are. Okay, there's another one, right?
There's a lot of them.
The other one.
No
There's
doubt.
a lot of them now.
Yeah,
I think they all took your lead because they happened after yours, right?
Yeah, shortly. And I'm sure they had the ideas. Like, I know Naima has really developed her podcast as well. She's the one with Bikini Diaries. She's so sweet.
That's right. I did hers too. That's why I was getting the name
Yes.
confused. My bad. I am so sorry.
No, don't stress it. You know who else did that? Paul Revelia did that too.
Oh, really?
So don't stress. I don't take it personally. I think it's awesome that there's a lot of us contributing to the industry and finding ways to do that. Yeah, it's awesome. And you do that too. I mean, you do all your Instagram lives. You're constantly providing value. You're involved in the industry. And that's something I really wanted to talk to you about in this little catch up, because I don't know if you remember, but after our podcast episode, we talked for like even longer, and it was awesome. And I remember you mentioning like, yeah, I'm actually done. I'm going to retire. And I was like, no, I was thinking in my head, like, no, but out loud, I was like, yeah, like good for you. You know, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. So I want to know, like, what have you been doing? Like, how has your life changed? How's your goals changed? What's been different?
Oh, good question. Yeah, things have really changed for me since 2018 was my last show. I did the Arnold Classic Ohio, then Australia. Then I retired, and I spent the first few months rebounding, like I talked about on the last show. Still going through that as a pro, you know, did a little bit of rebounding, gave myself some time off. And then I really needed to get back in shape because, you know, I don't feel good when I'm not in shape. I get depressed and whatnot, but it's kind of like, it happens to be a part of competition. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens, and more often than not for me. But I went through that whole thing, and then I decided to get back in shape. I got real committed to my goal of getting back in shape and then learning how to do it as a lifestyle. And it has been so wonderful. But it took me I did about 3 months of, you know, taking time off, rebounding and letting that thing happen. And then 9 months to get me back in shape, very slowly and steady. And I've been able to maintain that shape since then. So it's been a good, like, maybe another year and a half, about almost 2 years of being in shape and consistently, and I feel great. And so I learned how to do that without the extremes of competition, and I found myself really enjoying this type of lifestyle. And I'm really, really happy not competing. You know, I love it, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm glad I got to where I got to. I'm glad I reached all my goals and getting on the Olympia stage and the Arnold Classic stage, and being one of the best in the world. And that's really an honor, and it was awesome. And I learned so much from competition, but it's been wonderful to live the lifestyle and learn the lifestyle habits and just make this a consistent everyday thing. And now I'm in shape every day, and I look great and I feel great, and I train hard and I eat well, but I also eat what I want. And it's been awesome. So physically, I feel wonderful. And with my career, I started to focus on my work and my coaching. And so online training and nutrition coaching took off, and that's been very successful. And I've been able to coach lifestyle clients as well as competitors online. And I had a great time. I've been having a great time doing that. And I'm also doing in-person personal training and having a great time doing that. Just really enjoying that with my, I have a lot of clients that have been consistent over the last 3 years. So I've been able to just focus on them, and also the posing clients, which are in person and on Skype, but that really took off too. And as I've been able to focus on work, the more work you do, the more work you get. And that's kind of how it goes. So work's been great, and coaching has been great, and it's been really, really busy, extremely busy. And I'm very thankful. And, this year COVID happened. So there was a few months there where it got slow just because of the nature of what happened and gyms closing. So, my in-person clients went away, and it was all online, whatever I could do online. So there was a little bit of a slow period there, which I just took to rest a little bit more and do some like online courses while I had some time on my hands, and learn some new things. I learned some new things about Instagram. I took an online Instagram course and different things like that. And then since June 1st, it's been slammed again. Like as soon as the gyms opened back up, just slammed, because I think that people got real bored and real done with being so slow and not competing. And then that was a really good motivation for a lot of people that were competing. I'm sure people that got annoyed with their prep got inspired to do their prep when they couldn't do their prep, and like we were talking just a little bit earlier, you had been having such an amazing prep season during the COVID. And so, yeah, things have been on fire and extremely busy again since June. And, I'm tired, girl. I've been working a lot.
Oh, I
It's been
feel
going
you.
good.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I appreciate you sharing all of that and giving us that, bird's eye view. I know there's a lot more to that story and to all of this, but something you said, and I'm just kind of breaking it all down. You said now you're in shape every day. You eat well, you eat what you want. Your online coaching's taken off. You're doing in-person PT. You took time to rest. You've taken time to learn. Your posing coaching is super busy as well. So all these things have really shifted, and it seems as though like when you were competing, there were definitely those extremes that you experienced. So I'd love to know, because there's so many girls, and I specialize in helping girls with those extremes and working through them to have a healthy relationship with food and their body and their goals. But I want to hear from someone who has hung up the heels and hear, what have you done to develop a lifestyle that meets your needs as someone who still trains hard and like an athlete, who's constantly on her feet and who doesn't want to have those extremes anymore? Like, how are you approaching your food, your training, your rest days, recovery, all that?
Yeah, totally. So like the first 9 months was difficult when I decided, okay, like I need to get my act together and get back in shape, because I got out of shape the 3 months after the last show. I did get out of shape because of the extremes, and me, like I go real extreme for competition, because I
Yes.
mean, you just kind of have to. It's just a part of the game. If especially on that level, on a pro level, on a pro stage, on the
That's
Olympia
one of the
stage and whatnot.
best.
Yeah. So after I got my mind ready, and I got my mind ready to make the changes that I just normally make for prep, it's the same thing. You have to start making lifestyle changes and slowly incorporate more and more changes as the weeks go by, and um, a little bit more exercise, a little stricter on the diet. And then I found a very happy medium, a happy place where my body balanced out, and it adjusted. And because you do heal, you get back to normal. And it just takes it takes a little bit of time, a couple months, of being consistent again. And then I found that I could train really hard for 5 days and give myself 2 days off in the week. When I used to think that you couldn't do that. I thought you had to
Yep.
train every day, like, but I'm consistently maintaining a really nice physique and just training 5 days. Now I do train really hard on those days, and being a trainer, I've like scheduled it out with my clients to where I train with a couple of my clients, and I don't need to train with two different clients, but I do. It happened to work out that way, and so I'm still doing that. I'm actually probably about to lessen that coming soon.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm starting to lessen it up. Like I don't think I didn't go back to doing cardio even until short period last year, just so I can get like super fit for the summer, but I
Hmm.
never did more than like 20 or 30 minutes of cardio when I was doing that. And now I don't do any cardio, I just train because I'm training with two different people. I probably train about 10 hours a week still.
Hmm.
So that is a lot, and that is probably more than average. It's more than average than the average person will do, maybe 1 hour, 5 days a week. But I train about, an hour and a half to 2 hours for 5 days a week. And then but that's less than, competition lifestyle,
Yeah.
competition life and prep. So that's been really nice for me. And my body's had a time to kind of have a break from that extreme of doing it every day and like an hour of cardio. And the knees get beat up, your joints get beat up, your bones get beat up, like you're beat up after doing that much working out. So it's a lot less. And then I found that my body really likes to take 2 days off to rest, and sometimes three. Sometimes I take 3 days off, and I don't feel guilty and I don't feel bad. And your body really balances out, and it really likes the rest. It recuperates. It recovers during the rest. And
Hmm.
then the food. I found that I could, of course, you have to eat healthy, like to maintain a good physique, a leaner physique. You have to eat a lower fat diet and a little higher in protein, medium carbs. It's different for everybody, but I still eat very clean for the most part. But anytime I feel like I want something, I have it, and I just know I'm not so crazy, and I don't have so many urges to eat things because I'm not limiting myself. So now
Hmm.
that I'm allowing myself to have anything, I don't have those cravings that I used to have for sugar. So it's not
Yep.
it's not so hard anymore. It's easy now. It's easy. I literally like I eat what I want on the weekends, and on the week during the week, 5 days a week, I keep it pretty clean. But if I want something, I have it. I'm not counting
Nice.
carbs. I'm not counting macros. I don't want to count anything. I eat clean. Like my breakfast is usually the same. I'm having a cup of muscle egg, organic muscle egg. I
Mm.
mix it with whatever kind of protein I have cooked, whether it be salmon or turkey or steak, whatever I have cooked, chicken. I eyeball about 4 ounces or 3 ounces of meat. I put it in the 1 cup of egg whites. I make myself a scramble. I salt and pepper it. I put some salsa, and that's my breakfast in the morning. And sometimes I have oatmeal with it too. Some oatmeal with some fruit and a little almond butter on top of that. Half cup of oatmeal, maybe half cup of fruit, a couple of tablespoons of almond butter. And I used to feel guilty for eating that,
Right.
but that's something that's just a normal part of my diet now. And because I go and I train pretty hard, and I weight lift after that meal. And then I have another meal. Probably have like 3 meals in the day now. I don't have like 5 or 6 meals. I have like 3 meals, 3 smaller meals, like the breakfast is a bigger meal. And then I probably have a lighter lunch and a lighter dinner, and I have a shake, so it's not
Yeah.
so much eating, and it's a lot easier, and the body likes it. And I'm having almost just the same results. I'm actually
Hmm.
maintaining at a weight in which I would have, anywhere from 1 week to 3 weeks out,
Yeah.
and that's something I'm just doing every day. And it's not something I'm really thinking hard about. I'm just living my life.
Hmm.
And I know it's a little bit easier for me as a trainer, and people that are trainers like are in the gym, they have access to the gym, they can get a workout in quickly here or there. And I work out with my clients, so it's a little bit easier than the regular person. But it's not that hard for a regular person that is not
No.
in the gym as their job either. It's just a dedication of like an hour, 5 days a
Yes.
week. It's something that's doable, very doable. And just eating properly, giving your body the right nutrients that it needs to function. And over time, like, this is just how I like to eat. It's been 10 years of, I started bodybuilding in 2010, so I started eating like this in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Structured meal planning, and higher protein, lower fat, and that's just the way I like to eat now. So it's not a
Exactly.
big deal.
It's not like you're forcing it. And I like how you said too, like you're still very consistent and you are still training hard. There's so many things that come with being an athlete and especially a very successful. And I think one of those is passion and actually really enjoying the lifestyle itself. Even when you took it to the extremes, there was a level of investment and enjoyment in that. And I think that's showing as it's carried over into developing this lifestyle that's much easier and seamless. And something you said that stood out to me was how you've allowed yourself more freedom, which has released you from having tons of urges and cravings. And something I always tell my clients specifically is freedom creates freedom. So if we want to have
Yes.
freedom, not that control, like, oh, I'm out of control all the time, like we can't have a gaining of control by tightening the reins. Sometimes you have to let loose, create space for those opportunities to understand, listen to our body. And it sounds like you've really done that. And just from certain conversations we've had and things that I've seen of you online as well, is you've been heavily invested in your personal development, your inner growth, spirituality, your journey. I mean, you've always been very heavily faith based. So I'm curious if there's a connection or if you feel like there's been a connection between your relationship with yourself and with God and how that actually transpires and how you nourish your body.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're absolutely correct. And it's very spiritual for me. And since I've been going through a lot of spiritual awakening since retiring from competition, and during the retirement, it's kind of what led me, one of the reasons
Mhm.
why I was led out of it. Um and my spiritual life has been growing strong ever since, and that has resulted in the realizing that I want to be healthy and not dependent on anything, and not and free, because the spiritual awakening created freedom for me for in so many ways. And one of the ways was with what I'm putting in my body, and my addiction to competing, because people get addicted to competing. It's a
Yes.
real thing, and it's a real addiction, and you don't want to be addicted to anything. So that was something I was struggling with. As I got out of it, I realized, oh man, I'm addicted to this. Like, I think this is my identity. Like, I don't know who I am without having a title, and like, of,
Mhm.
Olympian, whatever, Arnold Classic, bodybuilder, bikini champion, So as I worked on releasing that, it also came to my attention that I needed to not be addicted to some of the things that was put in my body, or the way that I ate, and that it's okay to have some freedom with that. Um, and I got really healthy. I got really healthy in
Mhm.
my mind, in my spirit, and in my body. It happened all at the same time. And one of the things that I freed myself from too, because of the spirituality that has been growing, is like an addiction to Adderall and Xanax that I had
Mhm.
all throughout bodybuilding. I think I started that horrible cycle of doing those things around 2015, and and it's been really difficult to get off of those drugs, and they're prescribed to me by my doctor. So it's not like I was buying it off the street, but it's something that I actually started to do for fitness. I needed more energy and more focus, and I started taking Adderall, and then I couldn't sleep because I was taking too much Adderall, so I took Xanax to go to sleep. And that's really a bad cycle that a lot of bodybuilders get on, that they don't talk about it, because it's embarrassing, and it's kind of illegal if they're unless they're getting prescriptions from the doctor. It is illegal, not kind of. But if you're getting prescriptions from a doctor like me, it's not illegal, but it's not healthy, And so one of the things I did besides my nutrition was get control over the supplements that I was using. And I got rid of, just this year, actually, I just got rid of 3 months ago, the Adderall and the Xanax. And so
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a progressively, I've been progressively removing things, you know,
That's awesome.
progressively like doing things, and I'm still growing, and I'm still healing. And so until this year, we're in 2020 now, I stopped in 2018. I did stop for 9 months after the Olympia,
Hmm.
and then I got back on, and then I had to re-stop it, you know, and it's a hard thing to stop. And when you
Yeah.
know it works, it's hard not to go back to that. And I'm suffering from like not being on it, because you know, you're just a lot more efficient when you're on certain things.
Hmm.
So but I'm really happy because now I'm not dependent on anything. And that was kind of scary for me to go, oh shoot, like I really don't function well without taking my Adderall in the morning. I really don't function well if I don't get my rest because I took my Xanax at night. You know, I've had to really work on sleeping patterns, and it's been difficult, but I did it, and it's been amazing, you know. So yeah,
Yes.
my spirituality and the spiritual growth has led me to not only be conscious of what I'm doing with my mind, to my body, and what I'm eating, and how I'm training, and like letting that go, and letting the ego thing go with, you know, tying my identity to competing, but also with like some even just as bad or worse habits with drugs, you know, and alcohol. You know, like alcohol became a thing too for me. It became a heavy thing for me last year, and I got rid of alcohol last Christmas, you know. So I've
That's
been
awesome.
now, yeah, thanks. I've been now not drinking I'm on my ninth month, and I'm for sure going to go for a year. And then, you know, got rid of the Adderall, the Xanax, you know, and any other supplements that I took for bodybuilding, I got rid of too. Like I was being called out of that kind of stuff too towards the end
Mm.
of my competition. So I used none of these things in my last two competitions, by the way. But then
Oh,
got back on Adderall and Xanax, but I did not use them for the last two Arnold Classics because I
wow.
wanted to prove to myself that I didn't need it. And I was growing that at that time. I just kind of had like a relapse afterwards.
That's amazing. I appreciate you always sharing so openly and vulnerably because these experiences, I'm sure, are going to be very relatable and understandable to others, whether it's through the same methods or other methods. And I think by you
Yeah.
sharing, like, you gave yourself permission to free yourself of those things, to connect with yourself in new ways, let old identities die so like new versions of yourself could really blossom is awesome. I think it's going to inspire a lot of, I think it already does and always is inspiring other people to do the same thing and introspect. And I do want to bring up one other thing that I remember you openly discussing online, and we also talked about it at the Fit Expo, which is
Okay.
abstinence from sex as well. And I know this is something
Oh,
you were like kind of promoting and discussing as part of your journey. So you talked about releasing the drugs, the alcohol, the
yeah.
titles. What about this?
Oh, totally. That's a big one too. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's a good one. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, we did talk about that at the Fit Expo, huh? Um, yeah, at the Fit Expo when I saw you, that was January, right? Like end of January or
Yes.
beginning of February.
Yes.
Yeah, so on last Christmas, I decided, you know what, I need to stop drinking. That's it. Like I gotta just toss this, you know. So I stopped, right?
Mhm.
And then January 1st, I was like, you know what? I really need to like I need to just like spend some time with myself, like, and just be with me, you know, and like, because the sex thing is like a lot of us that get into competition probably have similar issues, you know, where we have like extremes or an addictive personality. And so this is a really good topic because so even though I might have removed alcohol, well, there's still like an underlying like addictive trait that I have. And like, if I'm not running an alcohol to do it, or not running the competition to fill that part up, then sometimes I run into relationships
Mhm.
or sex, you know. So So the whole thing with the sex is like, okay, I'm gonna work on healing myself and like being with myself really, really. And like, so I did a 90-day commitment and I made this up myself. I didn't hear it anywhere. I just decided that 90 days was, I was starting to learn about sun gazing at the time. And there was like this, actually, I got this from the sun gazing thing that I learned about. It was like 90 days of sun gazing, and you would increase the time of sun gazing
What is sun
every
gazing?
day. It's looking into the sun at an appropriate time where the sun is not damaging to the eyes.
Hmm.
And it is supposed to give you nutrients so that you can be, you can not eat necessarily. You don't need nutrients from food if you get it from the sun. You see, the sun gives the earth life. So this really made a lot of sense to me. And I was just really feeling this, learning about the sun gazing thing. And I wanted to see if it worked. And I didn't do 90 days of it, but I did like the first 30 days. And then I decided, I had a lot of people talking me out of it. And so
Were you eating in those 30 days?
yeah, I ate normally. I just wanted to see if it did give me more energy, or if it did somehow help my sleeping patterns, or if it was a health benefit. And I didn't get to really experiment with it the whole 90 days. So I can't tell you much about that. I did it for
Mm-hmm.
about 30 days and then I stopped. And I think I was a little concerned about my eyes, and
My
that
eyes
some
started
people,
burning. I couldn't
yeah,
see my
that,
friends' faces anymore. I don't
you
think
know
it
what?
was.
You know what? My eyes were fine, but like somebody I was talking to got in my head, and I was like, okay, all right, okay, okay, that's right. I'll chill out on the sun. Okay, but that's where I got the 90-day commitment thing from. It's from this idea of looking at the sun for 90 days, and then I realized like, okay, 90 days is a good amount of time. It's a good commitment for me to it start a habit, because if I can go for 90 days, then I'm going to be able to keep that, if I so choose to. It's going to change my life, and so I started with the 90-day. I decided to do no alcohol, no sex, and no masturbation. And I discussed with you the alcohol part was like, I was really depressed from my breakup with my ex-fiance. And so I started to self-medicate with alcohol, and it just became too much. Then I decided, okay, got to stop the alcohol, right? So that's where the alcohol problem came from. I've not been like an alcoholic all my life, or problems with alcohol. I wouldn't call myself an alcoholic either. I just had a problem. I built a problem with alcohol, a dependency. And so I got rid of that. That's why I did that. It was very unique to me, my own commitment. And then the sex was like, okay, I'm not gonna get into a relationship. Like, I'm gonna wait. And if I meet someone, I can still get to know them, but I'm not gonna have sex. And I'm gonna wait for 90 days. And wherever I'm at along in the process, let's say I met someone, 60 days out, 30 days out, whatever, it'll still give me enough time to make a decision on if I would like to get physical with this person. Before, a lot of times we make a mistake, we get physical a little too early, and it doesn't ever really work out well. you know
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times it has not worked out well, so for most people, and for myself included. So I thought I would do that, and that was kind of to safeguard me against in getting involved with someone, and getting my heart involved, and like just giving myself time to be with myself and get to know myself and love myself. And it really worked. It was really amazing. I just spent a lot of time with myself. And then the masturbation thing, turned into something else. But the masturbation thing was like, I was using a tool that I became dependent on, and it was affecting my sex life at the time. So I wasn't able to climax with my partners so well, and so this tool was very aggressive. And I was like, I got to get rid of this tool. I've gotten rid of it before. I'm gonna get rid of it again. And I actually did all these same things without like really thinking about it, but I did all these same three things like leading up to my Olympia 2017. And
Wow.
I was on fire during that time. I was super confident, like really powerful, really strong, really focused, just on fire during that time. And then I remembered that as I was doing this, because the same thing started to happen. I started to get really powerful and build up a lot of energy. And then I researched the whole abstinence or masturbation thing. And, a lot of people do that to build up their chi, their energy.
Right.
Yes, they harness the chi and they harness the energy. And a lot of people practice this. And like, I've mostly continued to practice this. Like I'm very, very careful with masturbation, and I'm still not using the tool. Like, so I've gotten rid of the tool all year this year. There's been no tool, there's been no alcohol, and so I really gained a lot of power, a lot of confidence doing this process. And it's very amazing. I literally felt the energy build up inside of me, and it made me extremely confident, and it made me really powerful. And then I got engaged in a very good, healthy relationship after the 90 days. And so where I am having sex with that person, but I decided to very carefully choose. I became better at carefully choosing a partner because
Yeah.
I abstained, and because I worked on loving myself during those 90 days and spending just time with me, alone with me, not going out on a bunch of dates, not giving away my energy through sex, not giving away my energy through masturbation, and not lowering my frequency and my vibration with alcohol. So my vibration kept increasing, and I could feel it. Like
Yeah.
I'm my vibration is high now, and I'm very sensitive towards a low vibration person or low vibration things. Like I'm not able to be around them for too long. I'll get irritated real quick, and like, I got to get out of there. Like, so things don't just vibe with me anymore. It's like harder to vibe with me because my vibration is high. And
Yeah.
now I've continued that. I've continued the no masturbation, the no tool. I've continued the no alcohol. I've continued to work on myself and love myself and only do things that show me self-love, that are things that people that love themselves do. And that's been really a wonderful experience this year. And it's really helped me to keep my vibration up high. And I don't regret any of that stuff, and I like recommend it for anyone to do. It's life changing. But
Mm.
yeah, that's the whole abstinence from sex thing. And it's just been wonderful. Like, if you guys are having a hard time in relationship, or you just got out of a relationship, or you feel like it's just not working out for you, you're not meeting the right person, like I highly recommend that you do a 90-day fast. A 90-day fast from whatever it is unique to you, that will raise your vibration, whether it be to abstain from sex. Like if you're having trouble with a relationship, I think that that's the number one thing that you should do. But with sex also is masturbation, because you could abuse masturbation when you're not having sex with somebody. So I would get rid of both of those things and watch how amazing that the power and the energy starts to harness within yourself. Like, it is sick. It is really amazing. And then I would
Mhm.
add to it things that lower your vibration. For me, it was alcohol was lowering my vibration, because um, it's a lower frequency thing. It lowers your frequency, and so do certain foods. So like my food is already good. My food is clean. It's high vibe. I drink a lot of water. I eat well, um, and some people, and I exercise. So I already had these things that are good habits already built. I'm already disciplined in those areas. But if somebody is not, and you want to change your life, and you want to start feeling better, you want to see something change, if you're sick of the way things are going, like I highly recommend that you do those things. Like, start exercising, start eating better, start drinking more water, and then maybe abstain from sex and masturbation, maybe get rid of alcohol, or if you're like addicted to smoking weed, get rid of smoking weed. That can lower your vibe too. Like, there's all kinds of things that if you're addicted to something, you don't want to be addicted. You don't want to have dependency. You want to be free, and the freedom feels good. And it gives you power and strength and confidence, knowing that you don't not dependent on anything. You can just wake up and go. Like, you don't need any pill. You don't need Adderall. You don't need Xanax. You don't need this. You don't need that. Oh, I'm free now. I'm literally free.
That's so beautiful. I love the way you put that because it sends this like massive image into my mind, and I'm sure those listening too. That's like so easy to get addicted to the problem, to get addicted to what you think is solving the problem, and to get addicted to your own story around those things that we abuse and use, or have just accepted as our normal. And it takes courage to
Right.
challenge those norms and really step out of it and say, you know what? I deserve better. I am sick of this. I am going to do something about it. And so, you sharing your experience with that and providing insights into and suggestions too, and how other people might be able to do that is awesome. And what I just get is this huge energy of love and self-commitment, and a commitment
Mhm.
to honoring that you do deserve better. And something you brought up earlier, just kind of shifting gears a little bit, was how your business has really taken off too. You've been able to invest a lot of time in your work and your coaching and
Mm-hmm.
your personal development within growing your business, as well as with your clientele. And I've noticed you have definitely been very active with posing and even helping girls, not just in-person shows, but also like these newer virtual competitions. And so I kind of wanted to get your take on virtual competitions. And then, yeah, like let's start with your take on them and what you think about them from a judging perspective, winnings perspective, what people are doing, COVID times, all
Sure.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're calling them online competitions, so we're not using this word virtual, just because it's different than the virtual now is like the lives that they're doing for like let's say muscle contests. They
I
stream
see.
their show on live. Yeah, so we're gonna differentiate that by saying online competitions. So I love the idea. I wasn't sure what to think at first, but I've actually gotten highly involved because I see that it's a wonderful thing, and it's the future of bodybuilding, and it's also it's been a wonderful way for during the COVID for people that got, their shows got canceled, and it was such a sad thing. People were ready to compete and the shows got postponed and they got canceled, and we don't really know when things are getting back to normal. So I really appreciate all the promoters that have done what they can, like Muscle Contest, Center Podium, Spectrum Fitness Productions. They're all working really hard to put on the shows, but we can't have audiences right now, and you got to wear masks right now, and it just kind of really sucks. But I thank them, for really appreciative for them figuring out how to do this. And in the meantime, there's been other people that have started online competitions like the Royal Cup, and the Royal Cup is an organization that is doing online bodybuilding competitions, and I've gotten really involved with them. And like I said, I didn't know what to think at first. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, how's the judging going to be for an online competition? Like, they were talking about having the people vote. And I was like, I don't know about this. If it can't be a popularity contest, that's not what
Right.
bodybuilding's about. But they've really figured out how to make this a really cool, fun competition, and also fair, and include the popularity thing, but also do a fair bodybuilding competition. So they had their very first one, the online competition, the Royal Cup had their very first one. Now they were going to do this anyways. It wasn't because of the corona.
Hmm.
It was something has been made by an athlete for the athletes, and it was such an amazing idea that they had been thinking about for a couple of years how to put this thing together, and then they just kind of pushed it a little bit faster and went a little bit more forward when the COVID happened. So it's something that was already going to happen this year, but they made it go, they sped up the process, and they did it during the COVID, and they called it the Corona Cup, that very first one. So the Royal Cup, they had their show in July this year, and it was really cool. There was about 20 people that entered, and then 11 that actually competed. And then because it's for athletes by athletes, we want to be able to give out a lot of prize money and make sure that like in the future we'd love to give out for the top 10, for there to be money for the top 10 to win, because this is supposed to help them with the other shows, and we want to give them
Mm-hmm.
some money to go and help with the cost of competing at muscle contests and at Center Podium and at Spectrum Fitness and at the NPC shows, because it becomes a costly sport. So the way that they ran it, I really loved, and I got to be a part of kind of helping them out because I had a lot of ideas that were helpful. And so what they did was like the first round was everybody entered by sending in their pictures. So it's like your front, back, and then a creative picture. So that was really fun because they got to do something fun or like something sexy and be creative, for one of the photos. And the other two photos were a front and a back picture so that they can be judged. And those were judged by the people. Anybody, there were votes by votes. So everybody had to, call upon their groups and their people and have them vote. And the people with the most votes got into the next round. And so at the next round, we did a top group, and those people were judged by judges, IFBB pros, and those IFBB pros made their judgments, and so that's where we feel like it was fair, you know. So and then we got to do like a wild card and pull in. So I wasn't one of the judges because I was helping out with different things, so I did
Right.
not judge, because that wouldn't be fair in my opinion. So so then there was like a wild card in case by popular vote they left somebody out that was really good, then the judges could pull one person in, and they did that. And I thought it went really well. And then they gave the winner $1,500 for bikini and $1,500 for men's physique. And then there was a $500 second place award. And in the future, there's going to be more money. There's going to be a lot more money. They're going to give out.
So do the athletes pay to enter?
Yeah, they paid, I believe it was $99 or $100 for the entrance. And at the time, there was the Black Lives Matter issue was really hot right then, and so they actually donated all the money towards that fundraising and that organization, which was really awesome. But it was a $99 fee to enter, and then you're possibly going to win $1,500 or $500, and then third place got a prize too, a gift. And so I really love it because I think it's really important that we award our athletes. And once there's enough funding to be giving out 10 prizes, and we can give out, you know, $5,000 for a winner, and then move down in a money prize, that's going to be really sick. And I think it's going to really grow, and I think it's going to get big. And I really support it. So I love it. I love what they did. Did you get to watch any of that?
I didn't see any from them. I saw some from others.
Okay.
I personally think is interesting. Like, I gotta be totally transparent
Yeah, totally.
because I'm like, as an athlete, I'm like, I want to be under the same stage lights, under the same circumstances, and I don't want it to be a popularity contest. And I think it's
Hmm.
interesting that their first round is about voting. Now, I understand when you get a lot more people involved, more people enjoy it, they're gonna vote based on the athlete, and I think that that's what's, you know, the trajectory of it.
Hmm.
Um, I am curious, are they planning on doing donations for every show to certain organizations, or just, and was that disclosed?
No, that was just a thing that they did this time. And so um, you know, we're going to be using most of the funds to give out prizes. So
Okay.
yeah, so that was just that was something that they decided to do just this time. It wasn't something that they're planning on doing every time. Um,
Did the athletes
and
know going in, like, that part of their registration would go to that organization?
you know what? That happened like
Mm.
halfway during the registration process, I believe. And then they announced that they were going to be giving towards that organization. So the people that entered in the first half of when they can register didn't know, and then they knew about it the last half.
Hmm.
Hmm. And
Okay.
I think in the future, what I discussed with them, what I thought was, because there's a thing, like I understand about the popularity thing, right? I agree with you. So what we've been talking about and what I've suggested is, let's do maybe just three people. Let's do a top 10, and let's have 10 prizes, but let's have, like, you go into a finals round just with the popularity votes. It's like a finals round, and then there's judging by judges, by IFBB
Yeah,
pros,
that makes
right?
sense.
So yeah, you're not going to win because you got the popular vote, but you're going to make it into the second round of voting, which would come from the judges. So we want to make sure, someone that looks good is winning. You can't just win because you're popular, but that might help you get into the next round. There's 2 rounds. And the second round, there's a video in which you have to send in your posing routine. And I agree with you. The things about the lighting and all that, that's like all, it's questionable. And you're right. You really want it to be fair. So that's where things are not exactly fair necessarily, but it's going to be up to the athlete
Right.
to to like come up with the right lighting and show that they know what they're doing,
I think it's
and you can.
also like important for athletes listening to know too, like these aren't sanctioned by the NPC or the
Right.
IFBB. They're not going to earn you a national qualification or a pro card. It's just something that athletes are doing. And the reason I asked about the donation was just because I think like of transparency. And personally, like and I'm just giving feedback, I think I would have been upset if I had known, especially if like I don't align with a certain organization.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I, I'm not going to get political, but I think there's like underpinnings to every organization that we have to be really careful of. And if I had like paid money to enter a show and then was told like it was going to go to something that maybe I would have preferred to have chosen like what my donation could have gone to. That's just something
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of in addition to like how the judging is done. So I think it's an interesting concept. I think it for sure could grow from here. And I love that you're involved. Like that's the thing I love about you is you're always staying involved in the industry and supporting athletes in being their best. And I know we're coming up a little bit on time, so if you want to give people an opportunity to learn more about it, where could they do that?
Oh, good question. Let me see. Where's this?
It's
You
just
can
Royal
go
Cup.
to the Royal Cup on Instagram. Yeah, at the Royal Cup. That would be the best place, and you'll find the website there. And I think you're totally fair in having your opinion. I totally think that's fair, and I agree, and that's good. And I think that the owners just innocently like wanted to do something good. Just so you know,
Right.
their intentions were good ones.
Of
But that
course.
is a very fair statement that you made.
Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to make it as well. I get nervous about
Oh,
stuff like that.
totally.
Never
No,
want to
I
offend anybody.
do it, girl. You gotta speak up. You gotta speak up and have your own voice. And like
That's
that's
true.
awesome that you are, and and don't be afraid to do that. That's a very strong quality.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I did have one more question for
All
you.
right, shoot, girl.
Just to kind of wrap up everything we talked about, I want to know what you would tell someone who is maybe overly attached to the identity of competitor, who knows and is feeling called to leave the sport, but just hasn't got the nerve to do it. What's one thing you would recommend they do first?
Hmm. I'd say do a micro dosing of some psilocybin.
Oh my
And see how
God.
you feel
Give
and
me
see
a
how you feel.
different piece.
It's not what it's not what I did, but I think that's a great advice.
All
I
right.
think
Like
that
you
might help
said,
help
everyone's
people.
entitled to their opinion.
Yeah. I think that what they should do is honestly, and it's what the psilocybin would have you do is like have you deeply reflect, upon what is this doing for you, and are you dependent on it, and do you want to be dependent? Are you okay with that? So it just takes some. I think it's important to deeply reflect and do some meditation on it, and see if it vibes with you, and if that's your identity in your entire life. Do you understand that that's not really you? So it's just a matter of doing some deep reflection, some meditation, some prayer about it to see if you're vibing with that, if that's benefiting you.
Amazing. I appreciate it. See, this is what I love about you. I love our conversations because you just keep it real and you're fun to talk to. I love it. Um, I love
I
you. You're just so awesome.
love you too,
So
Celeste. I love you too, girl.
I appreciate you coming on again and just sharing, giving us a little catch up and always adding so much value. And to everybody listening, please show some love to Tamara. And if you haven't listened to her first episode, what are you doing? Like it was the very first episode of the podcast. Go back, scroll all the way down, find it because man, when we talk about kicking off a podcast, that did it. So you always set the tone. I appreciate that. And I hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Make it awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.